Smogon Premier League 16 is here. SPL is Smogon's flagship tournament where the best of the best each get drafted to play for one of 10 different teams and play every generation of OU. This year, the current generation is Generation 9, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. With 4 slots per team, 40 players compete in the tier every single week. Every player in SPL is superb, but we're here to introduce you to the absolute summit of the mountain, the top 10 of the SPL 16 SVOU Power Rankings. Number 10. After taking a break in 2024, Nat is officially back. Though she's currently known for her incredible SVOU results, Nat actually got her start and honed her phenomenal fundamentals in RU before taking her exceptional skills up to OU. While she was inactive during 2024, her performance in team and individual tournaments in 2023 has established her as a proven winner in the tier, with an outstanding 16-6 team tournament record in 2023 and a tremendous 9-2 record in SVOU and SPL. In individuals, she has made playoffs in 3 different tournaments: Smogon Tour, Official Ladder Tournament, and Official Smogon Tournament, proving her ability to consistently succeed at very high levels of play in the tier. She was drafted by the Indy Scooters this year at a price point of 16,000 credits in the SPL 16 auction, tied for 9th highest in SV, and tied for the 22nd highest overall. Eyes are on Nat to see if she can rise to the levels of her 2023 success, because if she does, she will justify her price and then some, and that expectation of excellence is a huge reason Scooters are ranked number 2 in SVOU this SPL. Number 9. In a tournament setting, there's only one goal: winning. Despite this, many players fall victim to the temptation of using a gimmicky or never-before-seen team in an attempt to gain the advantage of surprise. Sometimes it works, but sometimes it doesn't. Pice is not one of those players. Even the most robust teams can't always win, but Pice's stunning performances certainly support the sentiment of bringing the best you can when the stakes are running high. He made his debut in the 2022 World Cup, playing SSOU, and ended with a respectable 3-2 record, but has since gone on to prove his growth through his results. Entering this SPL, he maintains a 17-9 overall team tournament record with an undeniably fantastic 5-1 record in the World Cup in SVOU. He consistently ends seasons with positive records, has never ended one negative, and has proven his value as an elite battler in the tier. In the auction, he was drafted by the Cryonicles for 1,600 credits, tied with Nat for the 9th highest in SV, and tied for the 22nd highest overall. Since breaking onto the scene in 2022, Pice's exceptional performances and reliability make him both a formidable force and a name to follow on Smogon's biggest stage as a major player for the Cryonicles. Number 8. What's most popular is not always what's best. As metagames become more optimized and options become more familiar, the value of doing things differently increases. This isn't an endorsement of blind defiance, but instead creative thinking. Nico is a player who embodies this mindset, bringing the building acumen that brought him success in Oros OU to SVOU, navigating the delicate balance between surprise factor and standard viability. He constantly brings off-meta sets on established metagame Pokemon that are as reliable as they are unexpected. 34-31 overall team tournament record is great, but the recent 8-2 Smogon Champions League record is a standout. 2 of those 8 wins were in the playoffs en route to claiming the green trophy. Nico hasn't just proven that he can win games, he's proven that he can win the type of games that win tournaments. Nico went to the Stark Sharks this year for a price of 1,900 credits, the 3rd most in SV, and tied for the 14th most expensive overall player. Players like Nico are a massive boon to any team chasing victory, and this SPL, the Sharks will certainly be lurking towards him as they pursue the top of the podium. Number 7. When you hear about OU players that got their start outside of OU, it's usually referring to players who established themselves in lower usage tiers. These lower usage tiers are fundamentally similar to OU, just with a less powerful cast of Pokemon. This really makes you wonder, how many top players like Attribute are there? Attribute rose the ranks playing Monotype, a metagame where your entire team must share a single type. Battling in Monotype is fundamentally very different from battling in OU, which might help explain his original 3,000 credit price tag, the lowest possible price, for which he was drafted last year in SPL 15 by the Stark Sharks. A 5-4 record was good, but would pale in comparison to the 19-11 team tournament record he has now, headed by a breathtaking 7-2 SCL performance. Unsurprisingly, the Sharks decided to retain him for a total steal of 10,000 credits, the minimum retention price, which is looking like a terrific investment heading into this season. Attribute still plays Monotype from time to time, but this is SPL, and he's here to show why he's the highest ranked SVOU player for the Sharks, the #1 ranked franchise in the tier this season. Number 6. The path to success can be difficult to predict. Everybody's path to the top is different, but not many have a story that's anything like ACR1's, also known as Enzo. While he's been around since 2018, his stint in tournaments began in Oros OU with some good results. In 2022, he was drafted in SPL 13 and played only 2 games of SSOU with a quiet record of 1-1. Who could have predicted that 2 years later, he would put up a 5-1 in SPL and a 6-2 record in SCL in SVOU? Just one of these records is impressive, and he managed to put up both in the same year. Enzo's magnificent results in the tier reflect on him as a miraculously appreciating asset, rocketing his auction price from 3,500 credits, 1 bit above the maximum price, to a whopping 1,800 credits, tied for the 4th highest in SVOU, and tied for the 17th highest overall this season. Representing the Cryonicals this year, if he can put up similar records, he will be well worth the price. Success can be difficult to predict, but it's not impossible, and recent results predict that this year, Enzo will succeed. Number 5. While it's certainly an achievement to climb to the top of the ladder and set ELO records, it's never been the stomping grounds for the absolute best of the best. Instead, it's more akin to a training ground, and perhaps no player has trained there more than Stormzone. After reaching number 1 on the ladder during Sword and Shield, Stormzone sustained multiple other accounts in the top 10, in an undeniable display of consistent battling prowess. Though light skepticism may have initially been warranted, he quickly translated his success on the ladder to success in tournaments. He boasts a solid 16-11 record in SPL and a 6-4 record in SPL SV, but it was in the individual tournaments where he truly proved himself to be one of the strongest players in the tier, winning OST 20 in 2024 and taking home the Yellow Trophy. His skills also extend beyond the battlefield, as he constantly cooks up creative new teams, providing premium building support to his team. Coupled with his outstanding battling, Stormzone is an invaluable team asset. After being drafted last year for 14,500 credits, Stormzone was retained by the Circus Maximus Tigers this year at a price point of 17,500 credits, the 6th highest in SV and the 19th highest overall. With his strong battling and superb team building, there's no doubt that he'll be a key piece in the Tigers' quest for the trophy this season. Number 4. Sometimes, great players are right under your nose. Not all of them are signing up for every tournament they can, official or not. Sometimes they just need a little extra push. In the 2023 World Cup, Old Spice Mike was asked to represent the US Midwest thanks to his extraordinary ladder performances, where he then put up a respectable 2-2 record. While this might have been a satisfying result for many, Old Spice Mike took the opportunity to get busy grinding, leading to dramatic improvement with the results to show it. Later that year, he would go on to prove himself in SCL with a 6-3 record, and in 2024, he finished SPL with a jaw-dropping 8-2 record and helped take home the trophy in the 2024 World Cup. In both of his SCL performances, he's put up positive records, and the Alpha Ruiners are banking on him doing the same this year. Paying a premium of 18,000 credits to retain him after drafting him for 15,000 last year, Old Spice Mike is tied with Enzo for the 4th highest price in SVOU and was tied for the 17th overall most expensive player. Only 2 years ago, he was all but unknown in the tournament scene. But in 2025, the Ruiners will undoubtedly be expecting Old Spice Mike to put up an excellent performance, and given his record, it's a very good bet to make. Number 3. On Smogon, there is an archive of all player records across all team tournaments, colloquially referred to as the Sheet. Of the many players to appear on this list, the vast majority never put up 15 wins on the Sheet in a single year, but Myjava did it in the year of his first ever SPL and SCL. His 2024 put up a combined 15-6 record in SVOU across the 3 team tournaments. In that SPL, the Dragon Spiral Tyrants took a gamble on him at the recommendation of another player from Team India, and for a measly 3,000 credits, the Tyrants couldn't have spent any less on him. Minimum price buys are inevitable for any team, and the big success stories for these budget players are the exception, not the norm. Still, no matter how much they believed in him, it's hard to imagine that they could have predicted a 7-2 season record, and impossible to believe that they expected it. As any managers would, they happily retained him for an absolute steal of 10,000 credits. While the expectations may have changed, Myjava has already proven across multiple tournaments that he has what it takes to rise to the challenge and perhaps go even further. His performance will assuredly play a massive role in determining if the defending champions can repeat their success this season. Number 2. While many of SVOU's best are relatively new or at least newly discovered, some of them are already established legends of the game. Lax is a decorated player and a modern architect of SVOU. He's not only one of the best SVOU players, but also one of the best builders and battlers out there. Lax is an outstanding player in multiple generations of OU, but he didn't get his start there. Initially, he honed his skills in lower usage tiers like NU, and then proved his battling skills in high-stakes tiebreaker matches in tournaments, winning against the best players with the most on the line. Though his start in SVOU was modest while he steadily improved, he truly stamped his name in the tier with a trophy-winning run through OLT 10 in 2023. His aggressive playstyle and creative team building have made him an extremely formidable opponent throughout the current generation. Lax's 31-21 SPL record features more games played than most of this list's entire team tournament career, and tells a story of persistent brilliance in the site's most prestigious tournament series. This season in SPL, he was drafted by the Evergrande Bigs for 25,000 credits, the highest in SV and the 8th highest overall. He was the first nomination of the tournament for good reason, and will play an essential role in the Bigs' run at the franchise's first ever trophy this SPL. Number 1. Pokemon isn't a game where you can win every single time. Eventually, bad luck gets the best of even flawless play. That's why consistent, established success is valued so much. It shows that you can overcome the odds, and that your play is so good that bad days and bad luck seem like the only things that can keep you down. Meet the man with the most impressive SPL debut of all time, who just last year scratched that ceiling of perfect, ideal play. Hellom is the most dominant player in SVOU this SPL, running away with the number 1 slot. He had the best debut in the tournament's history last year, going 10-1, demonstrating complete mastery over the tier. Outside of SPL, Hellom has accrued a singular loss and 6 more wins for an unbelievable 16-2 record overall. Hellom's ability to stay ahead of the metagame and win even with unconventionally strong teams has powered him to great success, ever since he burst onto the scene in explosive fashion. Last year, Hellom was drafted for 6,000 credits by the Indie Scooters. To the surprise of nobody, this year, he was the first retained for 10,000 credits. It's hard to imagine him repeating such unprecedented success again, but even if bad days or bad luck gets the best of him, Hellom remains a true force of nature in the tier, and the Scooters are certainly banking on their star player to help take them all the way this season. Who will you be rooting for this year? What are your predictions? Check out the Smogon Premier League forums to stay up to date on all of the action, with every resource you could imagine to follow this tournament every step of the way.